Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, and welcome to another edition of the Pure Digital Passion Podcast with me, Moses Kemibaro. And today we have a very special guest, also known as the Godfather of technology in Kenya and East Africa, Harry Hare. Harry Hare has a long and illustrious career in the digital space in East Africa, somebody who I've known as a friend for probably over 15, maybe even 20 years, and he's been very much in the publishing side of this. But here today we are in Diani, Kenya, where we're experiencing the 15th edition of the CIO 100 Symposium and also the awards. Karibu sana, Harry.
Thank you, Moses.
So, Harry, I know I did a bit of a trick there. I talked a little bit about your reputation, that you are the godfather of technology in Kenya and East Africa. And I think...
Where did you get that from?
No, people have been saying it. This whole time I've been in Diani, everyone is just saying, Harry, the godfather, the one who whispers, the one who pulls the strings behind the scenes. And I think you're being modest about it, but I think we all respect and know that Harry Hare is the man.
Thank you.
Yeah?
Thank you very much.
So, Harry, I want to go a little bit further back. I mean, we're celebrating 15 years. We're here in Diani. There's a wonderful conference. We've learned about so many things. AI seems to be at the center of it all. But I want to find out a little bit more about Harry. Where are you coming from? How did we get here from your beginnings of your career to, establishing an event that has become essentially the hallmark of the technology space in Kenya and East Africa?
Where do you want me to start?
Let's start going back to the days of when you were publishing the earliest magazines and publications around the technology space.
So that's really way back.
Yeah, and you can just give me the condensed version.
Yeah, because so I got into this publishing space probably because of the need to communicate.
Yeah.
So I had this knowledge about IT.
Yes.
That I picked from all over the place, mostly reading magazines and reading early websites, going into bulletin boards and getting to understand what people are doing out there.
Yes.
And I just had this knack to communicate that information to people so that whoever is interested can know what is happening, but also maybe learn from it. So that was the genesis of my my publishing interest, and from then on we started with my Microcomputer guide.
Exactly. Tell us about that.
That's like way in early 90s.
Wow.
Where we had a local publication, and I used to bring guys together and we would sit in a room and come up with different types of content. I remember one time we actually did a benchmark of locally assembled PCs.
No way.
Yes.
That was happening back in the day.
Yes. There was a company, I can't remember the name, but the name of the company, but there was a guy called Bansil.
Okay.
And a few others who used to assemble local computers. So they would pick pieces from different places and then assemble computers, and they were good. So we created a benchmark, and we were benchmarking all these PCs, looking at the performance, looking at usability, looking at different things that other international magazines were doing, and that was so early. And I remember guys asking me, so what do you guys do? How do you do it? But it was this passion and wanting to communicate technology to different people.
Okay, so you went from that business, and I think there's another business where there's a connection with an international brand.
So we did Microcomputer guide for about 2 years.
Okay.
And then one day I came across an organization called IDG.
Okay.
Which is International Data Group, and these were big publishers. They had so many titles, different titles: PC World, I think Computer World, Network World, all those world magazines. Yeah. Yes, those were owned by IDG. So I went into their website and saw VP licensing, and I dropped him an email. I didn't even know whether he was gonna respond.
Wow.
But I think about 2 months later, somebody knocks at our office.
Physically?
Yes, he knocks into our office and introduces himself. I'm Tim Clark from IDG.
What? Unannounced?
Yeah, completely unannounced. And he's like, I'm here to see Harry. I'm like, okay, do you know Harry? He's like, no, but we've exchanged emails with him. So I'm like, it's me. He's like, oh, okay, Harry, hi,
Okay.
nice to meet you. Yeah, so we sit with team and discuss our publishing business. We're young and restless, and we just wanted to do things. So he looked at us and he's like, "Okay, you guys, I think you have something going. I think we can have a conversation on
Yeah.
how you can publish some of our titles." So yeah, after that they licensed us to do PC World. So we
Imagine
became
that.
PC World East Africa.
Fantastic.
So from Microcomputer Guide, we rebranded to PC World East Africa. And Moses, it's amazing how these brands open doors. Because, from a local publication, the moment we changed to PC World East Africa, like all doors were opening. You go to every multinational company.
They know who they are.
They know PC World. They know PC World. Oh, you're part of PC World. Oh, you're part of IDG. So that just gave us like really good credibility as a business, and so it just grew, and the rest is history.
So you went from there to what happened next after PC World?
We tanked actually.
Oh,
yes,
okay.
we did. I think about 5 years into PC World, we hit some serious storms
Wow.
in our business, and we had to sell the business.
Wow.
Yeah, because so we had two choices, either to kill it or to sell it.
Wow.
Because we couldn't continue publishing. Yeah, it was just impossible.
Wow.
Because the market, so the whole economy, the country
Just didn't support it enough.
No, actually, it was a recession. So we hit
at
a
the time,
recession.
okay.
Yeah, there was a recession, and which is very strange because when you have a recession, you want to go out more. You need to market more so that you can maintain your position.
Yes.
But normally, what happens is when there's a recession, then people cut budgets, and
Yes.
the first budget that is cut is marketing.
Exactly.
So after a while, we couldn't
Sustain
continue.
it,
We
yeah.
couldn't sustain it. So we had to look for a buyer or kill it. So we decided, no, let's not kill it. Let's look for a buyer. So we started scouting for a buyer, and that time we were fighting with somebody who had a computer shop called PC World.
And you were the publication.
Yes. So we were
there
the
were trademark issues.
yeah, there was serious trademark issues and confusion. So when he heard that we're looking for a buyer, he was the first guy to come to us and say, "Hey, I'm ready to buy."
And now consolidated too.
Yes, and consolidated. So so we sold our brand. Of course, it got IDG involved in that whole process.
The transition,
Yeah, transition, and then we moved on.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what happened now from there? I'm curious.
So from there is when I. When we're looking for a buyer and through the sale process, because I had to remain to just transition the team and transition the business. So that's when Sean Moroni,
Sean.
the founder of iTech.
I remember iTech.
Yes. So he reached out to me and he's like, "Hey, I'm looking for somebody to help me run my business within the region."
Okay.
So we had discussions with Sean, and then he made me his regional manager. So looking at East Africa, so Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, and Ethiopia.
Great.
So I started doing
Pretty big canvas, huh?
Yes. Yeah. So I did that business for him. Then later on, so Tanzania was a very interesting market for him, but it was not growing as fast as he wanted it to. So he wanted me to station in Tanzania.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, because Kenya and all was doing all right.
Yes. So I moved to Tanzania. So I was in Tanzania for 4 years.
Wow. The Kiswahili improved.
My Kiswahili has always been good.
No, I know you're from the coast, so it got a little extra, I guess.
My Kiswahili has always been good, but it was interesting to actually start talking about technology using Kiswahili. Because you
Yes.
see, so I started doing some work with other organizations at ITech. So I would go to rural Tanzania, like in Bukoba,
Wow.
Lindi,
Talking about
Shinyanga,
technology.
yes, talking about technology and deep stuff around tech,
Yeah.
but in Kiswahili nowadays it's
Wow.
rusted. But I could do a whole 30 minutes presentation of technological concepts
Wow.
in Kiswahili. Yeah, so I was in Tanzania for 4 years, and that's where actually I founded the co-founded African Development Resource Center.
I remember this.
Yeah, the training business, and together with Andrew.
Correct.
So I started it there. Then later on moved to Kenya to start CIO.
Okay, so there was a transition between e-development and CIO.
Yeah.
Tell us about how that came about.
So initially we just wanted to do training because I had sworn, Moses, I had sworn never, ever again to get into publishing.
So this was not on the radar.
No. Because you see, we had done publishing and
It was a painful experience.
It's painful. It's hard, and I was so sure I was never ever going to get into publishing. So when I moved back and we're doing our training, fiber and GSM and all this stuff, all the cool stuff that people are using. Then some people who knew me from the PC World days gave me a very indecent proposal. That we need to start. What you did those many years ago is now required. According to them, we were way ahead of our time. We were talking to probably 10 people.
And now they felt the market had arrived.
Yeah, so the market was ready. They felt like this is a time now that we need that communication out. This is a time we need to educate the market because a lot of new technology is coming in and people are receptive, more receptive to technology. So this is the right time.
This is the moment.
Yeah. So I had a back and forth with them together with Andrew actually.
Yes.
We had back and forth with him, and I told him, okay, so I've had your proposal. Here's my counter proposal. We will only do that if you guys give me a 1 year, 1 year guarantee advertising from all of it. So there were like about 5 people.
Wow.
So I was like, give me
Is
1
it the
year.
stakeholders,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Yeah.
I'm like 1 year, it's not subscription, but give me advertising for 1 year. So those are 12 editions of the magazine. So five of them.
Yeah.
So 5 ads for the whole year for me to actually consider doing that. Because I know it's difficult. And the thing about magazines, and you probably it takes you probably 6 months before people can even see the magazine. Forget about putting money into it, investing in it. So by the 6th month, you already run out of money. Yeah.
Cash flows, all this.
Yes. The runway is gone. So you shut.
Wow.
So that's why I was like, and this is now knowledge that I had, because after going down the first
previous
time,
one,
yes.
Yeah.
So this is knowledge that I had. So I was like, you have to give me 1 year advertising for me to consider this. So like, yes, we'll give you.
Fantastic.
I'm like,
imagine that support, that commitment. Huh?
Yeah. So there was that commitment. Therefore, we started. So we put together stuff. So I still had contacts with IDG. So I went back to IDG. I was like, hey guys, here we are again. But this time around, we want to do something slightly different. This is the area we want to focus on. So we had a lot of knowledge.
Yes.
Because of the previous engagement. And that's why people, sometimes when you talk about failure is so, it's so dependent on what the future looks like.
And also the circumstances changing.
Yes. Because you see now, we failed in the first one because we went down. But then that knowledge is what actually helped us to bring the new business
Into light.
into life,
In the right way.
with the right structures, with the right strategy, because of those learnings. Yeah. And so we started, and
And they
this is it.
licensed you now for CIO.
Yeah, to do CIO.
So let's look at that, because I remember the publications coming out. In fact, I remember being very excited because it was I think at that point, CIO magazine was and still is a very premium, sort of illustrious publication for the industry. But clearly what happened there is I think the magazine spawned these events, correct?
Yes.
Tell us about that.
It's about it's about product positioning.
Yes.
And also, a business strategy.
Yeah.
So you look at so the magazine supports the events.
Yes.
But the events also support the magazine.
It's an ecosystem.
Yeah. So the idea is to create that ecosystem. Yeah. Create the different pieces that actually support each other, for you to be able to sustain it, because it's about sustainability. And if you look at in the past few years, a lot of magazines have gone down. A lot of people have asked me, how do you sustain this magazine? I'm like, I don't know. We just sustain it.
Wow. So we obviously have the symposium.
Yes.
And then we have the build up to the CIO 100, right, which is where companies get to apply to be considered as one of the CIO 100, which I think is a prestigious recognition. And then, of course, we have the big one, which is the CIO of the Year award.
Yes.
Maybe let's talk about those two dynamics.
So the CIO Awards is actually a research project for us. It's a research project.
Okay.
It is. Because we invite CIOs and businesses generally to put in a submission.
Okay.
So within the submission, of course, there are some questions which we use to adjudicate.
Okay.
And get the winners, the 100 companies that we award, and the different categories. But we also draw a lot of information from that. So like, for instance, I can tell you, based on this research, that a lot of people are looking at digital transformation, but from a customer-centric perspective.
Okay.
How do they digitally transform their customer experience?
Okay, it's more outward facing.
Yes, it's a lot of that outward facing. And then you're also seeing a few other people who are looking at how do they bring in operational efficiency within their business.
Okay.
Those are the two things that we've seen through this research. So we use that information, of course, to inform back. So we have the mega trends report, which we do, and share it with all the people who've applied, who've submitted, so they can see themselves and also see where they come from. And because you see, when you have 600 people submitting applications, and it's not too far from the truth.
So there's something I think very important about what I have understood behind CIO, which is, I think before this event and before even the publication, I think the IT function, as it was known then, the ICT function was seen as being very tactical and not strategic. And I think what you've done is, as a publication and a series of events, you've managed to elevate the standard or the perception of the role of the person in charge of the ICT function or strategy within the enterprise, yes?
That's correct. So when we started doing CIO, we could count the number of CIOs in one hand.
Wow.
Yeah.
They just didn't exist as such.
No. So what we've done is we've managed to elevate the role of the CIO to a point where now, because the push has always been, if you're a business and you're using technology, you need to think about technology in a strategic manner for you to benefit from it. And to be able to do that, you need somebody who, I always say, you need to have somebody. The CIO is like the mind is in two parts. One side of the mind is tech, and the other mind is business.
And how to bring those together.
So we've been advocating, for instance, for the CIO to be a partner to the CEO Because that's when now you will see that that business will thrive using technology. Because you see, when you have the CIO as a partner to the CEO and sits in the board, sits in the exco, then they will be able to give direction on where technology can take that business. And we've also been working with the CIOs on the other hand. Because see, a lot of the CIOs have come from a technical background. So we've also been working with them to bring business into their minds.
Correct.
Yeah. So it's like a two-pronged attack. Talking to the businesses to make sure that they have CEOs, CIOs in the right positions, but also speaking to the CIOs for them to start talking business. So forget about talking cables and servers and let's talk profitability. Let's talk about customer acquisition. That kind of that kind of language.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And then of course there's been a transition in recent years. I believe you merged with another company, DX5. The CIO brand continues, but you're also part of a larger business now.
So we actually merged with another organization to create DX5.
Oh, I see. Okay, such an original brand. Okay.
Yes. So it's pretty new, and the idea is we're betting on digital transformation. And if we are going to talk about digital transformation, or we're going to talk about or engage people in digital transformation, so you no longer involve the CIO, but you also have to speak to other roles
within the organization.
So you have to speak to the CIO, the CEO, the CMO, the CFO, the CHRO, across the board. So for us to be able to speak to those people, then we needed to sort of create these new things that speak directly to them. So if you go to the CEO and your CIO Africa, there's a mismatch.
I get you.
Yeah. So that's why we decided to go with the DX branding and DX transformation.
And this is really to broaden the appeal
Correct.
and the relevance of what it is that you're doing.
Correct.
My last question to you, Harry, is I've got to ask, what are the next steps? Today we're at the 15th, which is, I think, is so commendable. I mean, 15 years, I've been to so many of your events, and for me personally and business-wise, they've been so enriching, for me. And even today's event, today's sessions were incredible. But what's the next steps? What's coming next in terms of what you're doing?
I think it's, we roll with the punches, really. And we look at trends, and because for us really is to share or bring people together. So we connect people, we engage. Our biggest thing is about engagement.
And that community.
Yes, and that bringing that community together and sharing insights and making sure that people have the right information, but the most important information for them to make technology decisions.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's powerful.
Yeah, that's what we do. That's what we do. So we are constantly on the lookout, looking at trends, looking at technologies, seeing who's doing what, and then now package that in a way that is useful to our audience, to our community.
Fantastic.
Yeah, so we'll continue doing that. So now, we're looking at Africa, and with a foothold in South Africa, Kenya, and now Nigeria. So that's the thrust that we want to build.
So basically, those are the plans for Africa domination by the Godfather of technology.
Perhaps.
Harry, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure having you on the podcast.
Thank you.
Wishing you all the best, and of course, we're super excited. We don't yet know who the winners are going to be tomorrow, so we're looking forward to that.
I don't know either, man.
Yeah, you don't have any idea?
No.
And I think, once again, I'm delighted to have had this session with you. And thank you for sharing so authentically about the journey and, more importantly, the future that we can await.
Thank you.
Yeah, and there you've heard it from the Godfather of technology in Kenya and East Africa, Harry Hare, one of the founders of DX5 and also the CIO, which is now in its 15th edition. And we're looking forward to many opportunities to discuss all these possibilities that are happening within the tech space in Kenya and East Africa. We'll catch you in the next one.